Hey. My name is Mabel Carter, but around here folks call me Miss Mabe. 72 years old, 2 knee surgeries, a heart that's been bruised more times than I can count, but still beats strong like an old gospel drum. Everybody in this town thinks I'm just a sweet old lady who bakes banana bread for the church and complains about the price of eggs. But honey, I'm gonna tell you a story that ain't sweet. A story I kept locked behind my ribs for 38 damn years. A story of betrayal. A story of heartbreak. A story of fire. And a story of revenge so cold it could have frozen hell itself. This is the story of how my husband, my first love, decided he wanted to play games behind my back. And how I ended that damn game. With me winning. He ain't the same Frank I married. Franklin Carter, my high school sweetheart. The boy with dimples deeper than his sense of responsibility. The man I stood beside at the altar when I was just 20. We built a life together. A house. A family. A routine. Sundays were for church. Fridays were for grocery shopping. Birthdays were for burnt chocolate cake because the man couldn't bake to save his soul. We weren't perfect, but we were solid, or so I damn well believed. But the year he turned 44, Frank started acting different. And honey, let me tell you, when a man starts acting brand new in his 40s, it ain't vitamins, it ain't exercise, it ain't a new mindset. It's a woman. It was June. Hot as the devil's armpit. Frank came home late from work, smelling like a blend of cologne I didn't buy and vanilla perfume I didn't wear. His shirt was wrinkled, his hair was messy. And he was humming. Frank never hums. Not unless he's guilty or drunk. And he definitely wasn't drunk. Long day. Yes. Yeah. Work stuff. He didn't look me in the eye. Not even once. That was sign number 1, but baby, sign number 2 slapped me across the face the next week. He kissed me goodnight. A short kiss. Barely a peck. But when he leaned back, my eyes dropped to his collar. A faint smear of coral pink lipstick. And I froze. Sometimes the world doesn't break with a bang. Sometimes it cracks quietly, right under your feet. I stared at that lipstick like it was a gun pointed at my heart. Frank saw me staring, swallowed hard and said, "Oh, that's probably from someone at the office. You know how people hug." "Frank," I interrupted softly, "you ain't been hugged by anyone wearing coral lipstick since 1979. He didn't have a comeback. Just guilt sitting heavy on his face like fog on a window. The girl who broke my family. Sigh. Her name was Cynthia Rose. They called her Cindy. Pretty little thing, 27. Fresh out of college. Skin smooth like she ain't never seen a real problem. Laughs too loudly. Talks too sweet. Walks like she owns every room she enters. And apparently, she wanted to walk into my marriage too. The office had a potluck. Frank insisted I come. Probably thought it would make him look innocent. I met her that night. She stuck her hand out with that fakest smile and said, "Oh my gosh, you must be Mabel. Frank says the sweetest things about you." Sweetest things, my ass. I squeezed her hand tighter than Jesus squeezed that cross and said, "Is that so? Well, maybe one day you can tell me exactly what he says." Her smile cracked for a split second. Caught it. Frank. He almost choked on his potato salad. Well, I ain't stupid. When something smells wrong, it is wrong. One Tuesday, Frank dressed up sharp. Cologne. Clean shave. New shirt. He looked like he was going to meet the president, not sell insurance. "Working late," he said. "Sure, honey. And I'm Beyoncé." 10 minutes after he left, I grabbed my keys, put on my quietest sneakers, and followed him like a damn ghost. He drove out of town. Not to a client. Not to work. but to a cheap diner tucked behind a gas station, the kind of place where secrets go to smoke cigarettes. Parked 2 cars away and watched. And then I saw her, Cindy, in a tight red dress. Lipstick matching the same shade I'd seen on his collar. Frank walked in. Sat beside her. Not across. He touched her hand. She giggled. And right there in my old Buick my heart sank. But my spirit woke up. I didn't cry out, "Oh no, baby." When you've been a wife for decades, tears dry up real fast. What forms instead is strategy. And I whispered to myself, "All right, Mabel. If this is the game he wants to play, then play we shall." 3 days later, while folding Frank's shirt, something fell out of his pocket. A hotel key card. Room 214. Evergreen Motel. Cheap room. Cheap man. Cheap affair. I held that key card in my hand like it was a ticket to hell. And I said out loud, "Lord, forgive me for what I'm about to do or don't I ain't sure yet." Because that night, I stopped being naive. And I became dangerous. See, sweetheart, revenge ain't about screaming. Revenge is about patience. Revenge is about intelligence. Revenge is about knowing exactly where to hit so they feel it for years. And baby, I knew exactly how to hurt Frank and Cindy, without ever raising my voice. I became silent, cold, observant. The quieter I got, the more terrified Frank became. But let him sweat. People think silence is weakness. Nah, baby. Silence is strategy. A screaming woman, easy to ignore. A crying woman, easy to dismiss. But a woman who goes cold, quiet, calculating, she's a damn earthquake waiting to happen. Frank felt it. He'd walk into the kitchen and freeze like he stepped into a freezer. "You okay, Mabe?" "I'm peachy." I'd smile without showing teeth. Terrifies men more than yelling ever could. He'd tap his foot. Clear his throat. He was nervous, I could smell it on him. But let him wonder, let him sweat. Let him imagine the worst. Because the worst was still coming. Oh. The Evergreen Motel was the kind of place where the carpet smelled like disappointment and the walls had seen more secrets than a confession booth. Room 214. Thursday night. 8:45 p.m. Right on schedule. I knew Frank's routine like I knew my own heartbeat. And tonight, I wasn't following him. Well, I was arriving before him. I walked in like I owned the place. The clerk didn't even look up. He was too busy reading a magazine with a half-naked model on the cover. "Room 214, I said, sliding a $20 across the counter. "Enjoy your stay," he mumbled. He had no idea. I walked up the stairs, gripping my purse tight. Inside that purse, not a gun, not a knife, something far more dangerous. Information. But we'll get to that. I entered 214. Lights off. Curtains half open. Smell of cheap air freshener trying and failing to hide the scent of betrayal. I sat at the edge of the bed. Steady. Breathing slow. I wasn't here to attack. I was here to watch. Because sometimes you need to see the truth with your own 2 eyes, not through shadows or suspicions. Check my watch. 8:57 p.m. 3 minutes before the show started. At 9 o'clock sharp I heard footsteps. 2 sets. 1 heavy. 1 light. 1 familiar. 1 too damn familiar. The knob turned. Giggles. Then his voice. "Cindy, stop, someone might see." Oh, the irony. The door opened. They stepped inside. And froze. "Hi there," I said softly. Not yelling. Not angry. That scared them more than any scream ever could. Frank turned pale. Cindy turned red. What are you doing here?" Frank stuttered. I'm redecorating, I said. What does it look like? Cindy backed up like she saw a ghost. Mrs. Carter. It's not what you think. Baby, I've been married longer than you've been alive. I stood up, adjusting my sweater sleeve. I know exactly what this is. Frank's mouth opened and closed like a fish learning how to breathe. I walked past both of them. Cold. Collected. Then I said the line that would haunt Frank Carter for the rest of his life. This isn't the night I break. This is the night I begin. And I walked out, leaving them standing in the thick fog of their own guilt. Frank came home at 2 a.m. I was sitting at the kitchen table, sipping chamomile tea like a lady who didn't just catch her husband with another woman. He walked in slow, his red hands shaking. Mabe, I'm so sorry. You done? I asked calmly. What? You done talkin'? 'Cause I'm real tired and have zero interest in listening to lies. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it, closed it. Let that silence choke him. I stood up. For the next few days I need space. We ain't talking. We ain't pretending. You sleep in the guest room. You go to work. You stay out my damn way. Mabel, please. You don't get to please nothing. He looked stunned. Maybe for the first time in our marriage. He realized I wasn't fragile. I wasn't breakable. I wasn't his doormat. Not anymore. Well, revenge ain't random and structured. So I made a list. A neat little list. A woman's list. Protect my name. Protect my money. Protect my future. Expose the truth. Make them regret it without going to jail. Walk away the winner. Simple. Effective. Lethal. I became a detective in my own home. Frank was sloppy. Most cheaters are. Receipts in pockets. Phone left on tables. Emails half deleted. Cologne bottle under the seat of the car. Cindy wasn't smart either. She left a voicemail one day. Frank, baby, I miss you. Blick, baby. Sweetheart, I stopped being baby the day I paid bills and cooked meals for decades. I documented everything. Screenshots, photos, voicemails, hotel logs, car mileage. By the time I was done, I had enough evidence to destroy their world in 5 different directions. And don't worry, I plan to. I walked into Mr. Daniels' office, my lawyer, wearing pearls, lipstick, and a calmness that made him raise an eyebrow. What brings you in, Miss Carter? He asked. I want to discuss divorce and strategies. He blinked. You're surprisingly calm. Smiled. Honey, calm is what people are right before the storm. He swallowed. All right. Tell me everything. And I did. Every single little. By the time I finished, his jaw was on the floor. Mabel, you have him cornered. Oh, sweetie, I said, crossing my legs. I haven't even started cornering him yet. The office party. Remember Cindy? Young, bright-eyed, homewrecker Cindy. Well, her office threw a holiday party. And guess who got invited? Me. Frank begged me not to go. Which meant I absolutely was going. I wore a deep navy dress, curled my hair, and walked in like a queen arriving in someone else's castle. Everyone whispered. Everyone stared. And Cindy, oh, she nearly fainted. I walked right up to her table. Hi, sweetie, I said sweetly. How's work? She stuttered, turned pink, looked at Frank for help. I didn't let her get a word out. I leaned closer, close enough that only she could hear, and said, Did you really think you could replace me? Baby, I built the house you're trying to sneak into. Her eyes watered. I straightened up, smiled, and walked away. No screaming, no slapping, no scene, just psychological warfare. Way more effective. One night, while checking Frank's bank account, joint account, his mistake, I found something he didn't want me to find. He'd been giving Cindy money. Lot of money. Rent. Makeup. Dinners. If. He was funding her life like she was a small business. That's when revenge turned from emotional to strategic. Oh, sweetheart. You don't mess with a woman's heart and her bank account. Not unless you want real problems. I moved quick. Heavy check mark froze our joint account. Heavy check mark moved my savings. Heavy check mark contacted HR at his company. Anonymously, of course. Heavy check mark sent documents to the board. Heavy check mark filed for separation. Heavy check mark leaked the appropriate info to the appropriate ears. Heavy check mark and made damn sure Cindy's little fantasy world burned to ash. But not illegally. Never illegally. Smart revenge is legal revenge. Frank came home that Friday looking like he wrestled a hurricane and lost. Mabel, they suspended me. Ah, that's tough. Sipty. They found the receipts. And the emails. And the motel logs. Well, ain't that something? He sank into a chair. You did this. Oh no, honey. I leaned forward. You did this that I just turned the lights on so everyone could see. He cried. Real tears. Ugly tears. Years ago that might have broken me. But not anymore. A week later, Cindy got fired. Her little reputation got burned to charcoal. Her boyfriend dumped her. Her landlord raised rent. Her car broke down. People whispered behind her back everywhere she went. And guess who everyone blamed? Not me. Not my problem. They blamed her for ruining a family. Actions. Consequences. That's life, baby. One rainy night, Frank came into the kitchen, tears already falling. Mabel, I ruined everything. Please. Please forgive me that I'll spend the rest of my life making it right. I stared at him. This man I once loved. This man I married young. This man who broke me and expected me to fix us alone. And I said softly, Frank, I forgive you. He sobbed in relief. But I don't want you anymore. He froze. I stood up. You didn't respect the woman I was. Now you can't have the woman I became. And for the first time in decades, I walked away from him. Not crying. Not begging. Not scared. Just done. Divorce finalized. House legally mine. Retirement savings protected. Reputation clean. Future bright. I started traveling. Joined book clubs. Bought a new wardrobe. Learned photography. Lived. One day a young girl asked, Miss Mabel, how did you survive something like that? And I told her, sweetheart, I didn't just survive it, that I rebuilt myself from scratch. And I made sure the next version of me was untouchable. When life breaks you, don't glue yourself back the same way. Build yourself into something stronger, something no betrayal can shatter. Never forget your worth. Never forget your dignity. And never let anyone treat you like you're replaceable. If this story touched your heart, if it made you feel seen, if it made you feel powerful, make sure to like the video, share it with someone who needs strength, subscribe to Grandma Vault, and comment your thoughts below. Because your words matter. Your stories matter. Do you matter?